I just made a skillet scramble with some sausage and eggs and cheese. It wasn't very pretty, but God, it tasted so good. Now, I am left with the dirty pan. So this is the new black lock that I just picked up, and I basically washed it off, scrubbed it down a little bit in the sink, and then I oiled it after putting it on some heat, getting it bone dry, oiled it up, spread it out, and then I just dumped a whole bunch of sausage, eggs, cheese, potatoes in there, and it got pretty well gummed up. Now, this actually came out pretty clean for the maiden voyage, and it's really stuck to the sides, and it's eggs, it's cheese, it's what you would expect to have in a skillet. So I thought, let's do a skillet cleaning video. And this video is really set up for kind of a camp setup. I wanted to kind of show you how you do it at camp versus in the sink in the house. In the house, you got your gas stove top. You kind of take it off of that, you put it in the sink, hot water from the tap, scrub, 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 keep rinsing, rinsing, rinsing till it comes clean, back over, pretty simple. A little bit more difficult at camp. Now, I have my 3-burner stove out because that's what I cook breakfast on. You could do this with a smaller camp stove. You're just gonna have to kind of do a little bit more coordination. Some of the things that you're gonna need a pot of hot water. So this water's heating. It's not quite to a boil, but it's getting there. Because you don't wanna put cold water in a hot cast iron pan. You're gonna wanna have some gloves, some welder's gloves, some good quality gloves. You're gonna need something to kind of get that hot boiling water into your pan. So I have a nice ladle here. You, of course, are gonna need a scraper and some paper towels to kind of pre-clean everything up. And you are going to also want to get a quality bristle brush that won't melt when it hits the cast iron. If you get a really cheap brush, something that's not made of fiber or something made for the cast iron, it will actually start to melt and smear into your pan. Not a good idea. And then you're going to need something to collect your gray water in. All right, so you always want to dispose of your food properly, your food particles. So collect your gray water, and then what you'll do is you'll want to screen it off and dispose of it properly. So I'm going to take my pan, it's not hot yet, and I'm going to kind of give it a bit of a pre-clean. So I'll take a paper towel, and I'll try to get off whatever I can. And use the scraper. These scrapers have this kind of little round edge and a square edge, which is really handy for getting in the side of a skillet. Right. All right, our pan is pretty well knocked out of all the really big heavy stuff. So I'm going to get this on some heat now. And I'm going to immediately get some water on this. And it's always a good idea to have your gloves on. And you're obviously going to want to be careful with this water. So get a ladle. And I'm not going to keep this ladle in the pot because it's a metal ladle. It's going to get warm. So I'm going to just hang it here so I don't have to worry about burning myself if I forget that it's hot. And now that hot water, just gently with my brush, I'm just going to scrub the bottom and up the sides, and to kind of take the water and lap it up the side to wet it. And that's it. So this is one pass of many for sure. So with the gloves, I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna dump off this really dirty water into my gray water receptacle. 5-gallon pail works really nicely. And my pan is, it's got a couple more to go, but it's already pretty well cleaned up. And we just rinse and repeat, literally. It's really the same procedure for cleaning a Dutch oven. Cast iron is cast iron. And let's see, I don't know if you can see this, but it's starting to pour off much cleaner. And we're really looking for no residue on the pan that's visible. And sometimes it helps to let it just start to dry a little bit and you can see where you've missed. It's a little hard with all the steam coming off the pan, and it is a hot day today. Let's hope I don't sweat into my pan. I'll turn off my cleaning water because it's plenty hot enough. And that is looking pretty good. And what was that, 5 minutes elapsed time? And this is coming off pretty clean. I'm gonna give it one more quick rinse. It is hot today, hot and humid day, late August in Connecticut. One last quick rinse. Make sure you get the lip. These pour spouts make this really easy, and that water just ran off completely clear. So our pan is bone dry. Now, take the opportunity to see if you have any garbage, food particles, whatever, on the outside of your pan. Just give that a quick little scrub too. I'm all done with this water now, so I'll just dip the brush in there. And we are good to go. So, back onto the heat. We want this to get bone dry, and as you can see, it is nice and dry. I'll give it another second or so just to make sure. So we want that hot, and then we're gonna put our oil in there, and we're gonna kind of just give it a light coating so that we start to build up that seasoning and no rust could happen. You wanna make sure that your pan is absolutely clean and void of any food particles, because if you hit it with the oil, and there's either water or residual water or any food particles in there, you're just gonna top coat that with the oil and seal it in, and over time you're gonna get a nasty scaly buildup, so you don't wanna let that happen to your pans. So let me show you this gray water, and you will see that it is very, very gray. It's kind of a nasty brown color. That's just all the food particles. So, you know, a lot of that just needs to be screened off. The solid waste gets thrown away. You're left with just pure gray water. Dispose of that properly, responsibly, of course. Our pan is now nice and hot, so I'm gonna kill the heat, and I'm gonna get a paper towel. I know a lot of you are gonna say don't use paper towels, you're gonna leave lint in your cast iron. I use paper towels. Use what you wanna use. Use a lint-free cloth. Give it a little squirt of oil. This is avocado oil in this case. Avocado oil has a very, very high smoke point, and I've been really enjoying using that lately. You could use a spray canola oil. That works absolutely great too. I've done that for a really long time, never had a problem with that. So our pan is now nicely coated with oil. Flip her over, and with the residual oil that's just on that rag, I always like to just give it a quick once over so you don't develop any rust on the bottom of your pans. And that is a pan that literally looks like it came out of the box. Aside from being really hot, it's nice and clean, shiny, good to go for the next time. So I hope you maybe picked up a tip or two here. I know it's a little bit more difficult than throwing a pot into the dishwasher and just letting it do all the work, but I guarantee you my grandkids are gonna use this pan, and I'm gonna get years and years of enjoyment out of it. A little hot water, a little bit of brushing, rinse, repeat, no soap, no fuss, no muss, a little oil after it's bone dry, and you're good to go. In the sink, in the house, it's even easier. Give us a like, give us a share. Thanks so much for watching. We really do appreciate you hanging out with us, and get out there and cook.